All right, away we go. And here are the answers to the test. So the first one is, what is the probability of selecting a red or? Well, probability or is a red is 5 out of 19 and the blue is 4 out of 19. So you just add them and you get 9 out of 19B. Or probability, you add. Okay, number two is another probability, odd that they start that way. So what is the probability that a member will be in group four? Well, for probability, you always need the total. So the total is 8, 12, 6, and 2. So that's 28 people, total. And how many of them are in group four? 2. So the probability is 2 out of 28. Math frac for reduction, and you get 1 out of 14. Number 3 is equation solver. For what value of J is K equal to 40? So if you plug 40 in for K, you get that, Now, a lot of people would just use the solver for that, math solver. And the answer, of course, was 40. And what was the expression? 7/5 J plus 54. So 7 over 5. I'll just use X plus 54. Okay? And then I have to go alpha solve. Y'all can just do it. -10. Okay? In no way does that replace. If you wanted to subtract 54 and then times by 5/7, that would give you -10 faster. Okay? Third is an abs. You're plugging in 8 for X. So you can do 8 stow X. Oops, sorry. Second quit clear. 8 stow X. And then what is the absolute value of 3 minus X? You could have also just plugged in 3 minus 8. Either way, the answer is 5H. Watch out for this one. I fell asleep and the temperature was 24. The next morning it was -16. So what was the drop in temperature? So the drop is the subtraction of the two. So it's 24 minus -16. Okay? So the change in temperature was -40A. We purchased a car for $15,400, and I paid $1,000 down and got a loan for the rest, and I paid off the loan making 28 $200 payments. Looks like the cost was just 5,400. My bad. So how much did I pay? Is I paid 200 times 28, which is 5,600, plus the down payment of 1,000. So I paid 6,600. Well, I overpaid how much for the car? 1,200, which is this answer B here, or G. Watch out for this one. This one fools people. The hexagon, when you slice it up into pieces, is a bunch of 4 radii, and it's a 60-degree central angle right here. So that makes all of them equilateral triangles, and it makes all of the barriers 4. So the answer is 6 times 4, 24. A lot of people get fooled by that one. It's 6 equilaterals. This one I always divvy up. We don't have formulas for that, but if I cut it right here, the whole side is 50, that's 22. So that gives me 28 and 22. So now I have two rectangles. 40 times 22 is one of them, or area of rectangle. And of course, the other is 28 times 22. And I just add that to 880. Answer plus, and I go get it. And there it is, 1496 is the answer J. What's the shape? I just draw it. Negative 2O is here. O4 is here. Straight up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is here. And 8, 2, 6, 7, 8, 2 is here. Connect the dots. And what do you have? It's clearly a trapezoid C. Oh, F of G of. You gotta love it. That means you plug 4 into G. You get that answer and you plug it into F. So 4 into G is that, which is 8. Now you take the 8, which is G of 4, and you put it into F. So you get 3 times 8, 24, plus 7, 31. You could also do the STO for that. You could do 4 STO x and type in x squared over 2 to get your 8. Then 8 STO x and put in 3x plus 7. If you're real slick with the STOs, that's a great way to do it. Number 11. Okay, I need to make up and make a profit on my $200 investment. So I'm selling hot dogs for $2 each, right? And I need that 2H to be greater than 200. Except they don't want it like that. They want the 200 kicked over. So 2H minus 200 has to be greater than 0 to make a profit. Answer E. 12 is slope of a line, but the equation is given, not ordered pairs. So you always solve for y to get it in what's called y equals mx plus b form. Once I have it in that form, the slope is sitting next to the x, negative 3/8. This one is a simult if there ever was one. You enter on the program simult the coefficients of the first equation. What are they, gang? 1, 2, 2. So 1x, 2y is 2. And what do you enter in the second? Negative 2, 1, 16. And it'll give you the x and y. Negative 6, 4. A. Maps are almost always ratio proportion. 1/4 of an inch is 16 miles. And I always say keep your inches on top. 2 3/4 inches is how many miles? So calculator, cross multiply. 1/4 x is 16 times 2 3/4. Alpha y equals 2 3/4. Or you could just get 2.75, and you get 44 is 1/4 x. So you times that by 4, and you get the answer 176. Okay. Here's a matrix. It's really just distribute the 4 to everybody, but 4 goes in times alpha F3 for those that want to practice. 2 by 2. Which I should have set as my priority set, and it's -1 2 0 -4. Pretty cool, huh? Next page. Chief Sokotoa. So you run to place A, and you say, what is tangent? Tangent is the opposite over the adjacent. 15/8. Another ratio proportion. If you run 8 miles in 1 hour, that's 8 miles in 60 minutes. How far will you run in 12 minutes? Keep your miles with your miles. So it would be 60x is 96. Answer 96/60. 1.6. They want it as a fracca. 8/5. They wanted it as a mixed number. So I go alpha y F3. There it is. 1 3/5. Here's a perfect one to stow. -3 stow x. Use baby negative when you're leading off. And then I type in -6x² for the answer. -54. Hope y'all are learning. Here's some geometry. It's a lot of the geometry you're going to learn. Next to supplements the line. So if it's 132, the next door neighbor is 48. Sorry for the mess. And the three angles of a triangle are 180. So 48 and 180 is 138. Subtracted from 180 is 42 up here. So that's 42 degrees. This is a great one for slope. What's the key? It's linear function. When 5 is entered, it says 2. Well, that's an ordered pair. 5 is the input. 2 is the output. When 15 is entered, it's 6. 15 is the input. 6 is the output. That's a slope. So what were the things again? I forgot. 5, 2, 15, and 6. You'll learn to recognize that one in the practice. It's y is 2/5 x plus 0. There's your 2/5. This one, I hack it out. Okay? And 49 degrees, and it rises a half till noon. So I tell the story. At 8 a.m. it's 49. 9 a.m., it's a half, then 50, 51. So it's rising, and then it fell 1 per hour. So 50 at 13 o'clock, which is 1 p.m. 2 p.m. it's 49. It falls between 2 and 3. It falls below. Average is total. So your total is, it's 100 points, and the final is 200 points. So that's 600 points, and his test scores are that. Now, I made a B. When the scores are listed, he was listed as a B. So I'm going to try the outliers that may have been too high or too low. So I try 196. I add those up and divide by 600. So it's 82 plus 88 plus 196 plus 91 plus 83, and the grade's out of 600. So there's your answer, because you scored a 90, and 90 is an A. So it could not have been a 196. Area of circle. It says the diameter is 2.25. So when they ask for radius, you half it. It'll give you a number, and there's 10 pins. So the answer is A. I think it's 40. I think it ends up being just a little bit below 40. Ratio of the area of the lane. So the lane is the whole thing. It's 65 times 3.5. The deck is just 5 times 3.5. Well, you just get those numbers and make a ratio. And that answer is 13. So it's 13 to 1. 148 and 176. And she wants to average a 172 for 3 games. Average is total, so she needs a 172 times 3 to make the average. She needs a 516, so you subtract 148 and 176, and you get the answer. What she needs is a 192 to make the mark. I use algebra for this one. A rectangle is 3 times as long as wide, x and 3x. Area is 3x squared is 300. X squared is 100. X is 10. So how many meters wide is it? The length is 3 times the width. So that would mean it's 10 wide and 30 long. This is a popular one, 27. A parallelogram has a perimeter 96. One of the sides is 16, which means the other side is 16. So how much is used up? 32. That means the other 2 sides have to be 32 and 32 for it to work. So the answer is 32, 32, 16, C. A two-way street. So that means the street's going back and forth both ways. And it has a 12-foot line, 12 feet for cars. So 12 feet for cars. 6 for bikes. And 8 for parking. So add all those up. Should be 52 when you add them all up because they're all counted twice. Here's a popular one. It tells a story. There are 2,500 students at Central. 4 out of every 10 ride the bus. So you times that, and that should give you 1,000. 3 out of every 8 who ride the bus are freshmen. So you multiply by 3 over 8, and that should give you 375. So 375 are freshmen who ride the bus. A. Tricky one here. Sokotoa, I think is enough to get it, but the fact that it's second quadrant makes it hard. So what we got is we've got a triangle with the theta right here. This will be enough to get it right. And sine by Chief Sokotoa is the opposite over hypotenuse. Now use the program leg to find the third side. I don't have leg entered on my computer, but leg is going to ask for the hypotenuse first and one of the legs next, and you enter that. It's going to give you 21. So cosine is going to be the adjacent over the hypotenuse, so 21 over 29. The reason it's negative is that it's in the second quadrant, and that would take a lot of discussion in trig, but just put 21 over 29 as the only answer. This one's tricky because what values of t make f of t equal t? Well, that means when I plug in t for x, I get t as my answer. Cross multiply. 2 is equal to t squared plus t. It's a quadratic, so I'm going to set it equal to 0 by moving the 2 over. Now use quad 2002. It's a quadratic formula. You enter A is 1, B is 1, and C is minus 2. "32. What's the distance to the 2 radar stations?" So that's the distance from here to here. I got one part of it, 9,000. What's the other part? Hey, use leg. The hypotenuse of this triangle is 13,000. The leg is 12,000. It's going to give you 5,000. And then, of course, you add and get the answer, 14,000. This one confuses people. Where's the plane flying? Well, it's flying horizontally at 12,000 feet. Well, horizontal lines are y equals lines, and the y has to be 12,000, which is its altitude. Which of the following is closest to the number of seconds it will fly to C directly over A? So here it goes. It's got to go 9,000, right? which is that horizontal distance, until it's right above A. That's this 9,000, right? So all you have to do is take 9,000 and divide it by its speed, which is 300 feet per second. And I think that will give you 30 seconds, which is G. Which of the angles increases as the plane flies due west above A? Well, as it keeps going, isn't this angle A going to open up and be obtuse? And the further it goes out, the wider it's going to get. So the answer to that is angle A. Easier said than done. A is getting bigger. B and C, let's see. As the plane keeps flying, C isn't getting bigger. That's C right here. And B is getting tighter as it goes. So the only one getting bigger is angle A as the plane flies that way. We're making a poster 4 feet long and 2 feet wide. It's too big, so I want to make an area that is half of that. So the area right now is 8, so I'm going to decrease the poster so its area is 4. So the length of the new poster is 3/4 the original length. So what's 3/4 times 4 is 3. So 3 times what is going to give you 4 as the answer. And the divide by 3, it's 4/3, which is 1 1/3, answer G. Tricky here. This smells like all or none because when I distribute the 2 and subtract the x, I get x plus 6 equal x plus 6. That's all real numbers. It's always true. This is circumference. I'm going to use a 28 feet of fencing. And here it is. If you make it long and skinny or tall and thin, that's no way to enclose the rabbit. You'll want to make it square. A square maximizes the area. So if you've got 28 feet, make it 7 by 7, and you'll get the most area. Okay? Any other combination is going to make less area than the square. This one is the Bill Gates problem, I call it. So 5 people are in a room. The annual incomes are between 30 and 35,000. Meaning there's probably a 32, a 33,000, and a 35,000. Maybe 2 of those. Now, what happens? An athlete walks in who makes $1 million. Well, that million is going to be what's called an outlier. Oop, I messed up. One more 0. And that million doesn't change the median at all. The median is still in the middle. Okay? So the median is the one that's not going to change. The range is sure going to change a lot, and so will the average, because the range is going to be radically affected. That's the distance between the biggest and the smallest. The average is going to go sky high. but the median isn't going to care. I call that the Bill Gates problem. It seems to come up a lot. This one's real hard. It says she had completed 2/5 of the job, and the other one had completed 1/3. We'll add them up. 2/5 plus 1/3 is how much? Matha Freka. So that means 11/15 is completed, and Reuben completed the rest. Well, the rest is 4/15 in 2 hours. So he was basically working at 4/15 divided by 2. He was basically doing 2/15 of the job. So how long will it take any of them to complete the job? If it would take him, if he does 2/15 per hour, don't you reverse that? Because 2/15 times 7 would be 14/15. So it's going to take him more than 7 hours, 7.5. Or you could just reverse the fraction. Think about that. If I said I complete the job, I do 1/5 of the job in an hour. Well, how long would it take me to complete it? Reverse it. 5 hours. Exponentials. If I have 2a to the minus 1, I use b to the 1/2. Exponentials come up a lot on this test. To the 4th. 2 to the 4th is 16. And power to a power you multiply. And I get that. Now, all negatives flip. So the a/4 goes down, the b squared stays, the a stays, and the b minus 3 goes up. So you end up with 16b5, add the powers, over a5. Study that one. You should get that one with practice. It's 4 rock stars, and I'm going to guess which one's oldest. But there's no guessing, because I know for sure who the oldest is. So I just have to get the other 3 right. So 3, 2, 1. I could put any of the 3 rock stars here, then 2, then 1. So the answer is I have a 1 out of 3 of getting the first one, a 1 out of 2 of getting the second one, and the last one would be 1 out of 1. When you times those, you get 1 out of 6G. Super kill. I multiply every term by 12. Then I get 4x plus 6 equals 8 minus 3, which is 5. That's a complex fraction strategy. I multiply them all by 12 because it's big enough and bad enough to kill the fractions. Did I skip one? I certainly did. The license plate problem. This is multiplication. So each of the first 3 positions is a single digit. Now that's 10 numbers. And the last 3 is the letters of the alphabet. So the answer is 10 3 times, 26 3 times. Yowza. 1757. Okay. Watch for repeating. They said they can be repeated. If not, you would reduce your counting like the rock star problem, where you reduced 3, 2, 1, you would go 10, 9, 8, and then you go 26, 25, 24. But I don't do that here because I can select the same number. Shift rules of graphing. My Mount Carmel students know these the best. The +3 is outside. That moves it up 3. The -1 is inside. That moves it to the right 1. So this graph will go right 1, up 3, choice A. You can do my log program for this, where we're looking for 2. So you would hit 2 first, then hit the 2 entries, 5 and -2. You could also super plug the answers, and I'm just going to do the right one, which is 1/25, into log base. So it's under math log base. The base is 5. And then you could put all the answers in there. The one that's correct is 1/25, which is -2. Teach you how to do it too. A log is just an exponent. So log 5x -2 just means 5 to the -2 is what? And then negative power flips it 1/25. This one's cool. Lies between means it's in the middle. So you could do this a couple of ways. I do use decimals. 1/5 is 0.2. You could do that on the calculator. And 1/3 is 33333. So if it was 4, that would be 2/4, 0.5. No way. So 4 is out. 8 would work because it would be 2/8, which is 2/5. That would work. But so does 7 and 9. So try 2/7, 2/8, 2/9, and you'll see that they all fit in between these values. Answer D. Okay. This is the old, if you multiply by a negative, the arrow switches. So A is greater than B. If we divide by C, the arrow switches. So 48 has to be F. This one can't be true because the arrow doesn't switch. A plus C would be greater. And if I subtracted a negative, that wouldn't necessarily be true. So it has to be the first choice, F. This is law of cosines. The largest angle is the one opposite 39. So when you're doing that one, my students will recognize you go 39 squared is the other 2 squared, and the cosine of the angle. So when you solve that, you subtract these and divide by those, and that equals cosine x. So x is second cosine, 39 minus 38 minus 37 over -2. There's the negative, and that's an easy one if you've had law of cosines. He needs x points on 4 equally weighted tests. So to average x on 4 tests, average is total. He needs a total of 4x. How much higher than x must he score on the 5th test? So he must average x plus 2. So that would be 5x plus 10. So he must score 10 points higher. The difference of these, x plus 10. So it's the difference would be x plus 10, and it's how many points higher than x. 51. The intersection of L and M form 4 angles, A, B, C, or D. Well, B is 3.5 times A. Well, don't those two add up to 180? So 4.5A is 180. What's 180 divided by 4.5? Is 40. So A is 40, and that's got to be the measure. Recursive sequences. The sequence starts at 3, and then they tell a story. S2, the second one, is twice the one before, plus the number we're on, plus 1. So the second one's 9. S3 would be twice the one before, plus the number we're on, plus 1. 18, 21, 22. S4, the one we're looking for, is twice the previous one, which is 22, plus the number we're on, plus 1. And that's how you get 49. That's called recursive sequences. We're almost done. Least to the greatest. Is that 52? Yeah. A is an integer less than -1. All right. So let's make it -2 stow A. So the absolute value of A would be 2. -A squared would be, we could use the stow for this, -4. And then -1 over A would be 1/2. So the greatest would be the absolute value. It looks like it's going to be E, huh? Because this is the greatest and the second one is the least. Tricky, tricky, tricky. All right, she's playing a card game. Each card has a value. One card has a 1. 2 cards have a 2. 3 cards have a 3 and 4. Now, expected value is all the values over the number. So add all these up, and that would be 5 plus 9, 14, 18, 22, 26, 30 is the total, right? 12, 21. No, I misadded. It's 25. Huh? So 1 and 4 is 5, 14, 18, 22. Oh, I can't add. It's 30. 30 is the total, and there's 10 different cards. So the expected value is 3. Sum of any three consecutive odd integers. So, three consecutive odd integers. If x is the first, uh, and y is the second. So all it's saying is 7, 9, 11. Y would be 9. Well, the sum of them is always 3 times the middle. So it would be 3y. This one drives people crazy. The mean of the numbers is 24. That means that the average is 5 times 24 is the total is 120. That allows me to tell you what x is by subtracting all of those. So 45, 56, 66, 76, 83. So x is 37. The median is 38 of the second group. From median, I order them 29 and 8. So the median would have to be 38. That's going to be 9 above, 9 more, because the median of 4 numbers is the average of the second and the third. So this would have to be, if it's 9 more, the other number has to be 47, because the mean of these 4 would be the average of 47 and 29. So the median is 9 over 29, so 9 more is the y. So x is 37 and y is 47. What's 37 minus 47? Answer G. This one's tricky. All rectangles so that the length is greater than the width, which is not possible for the perimeter. Well, it can't be the square, 12 by 12. So it can't be 48, because then it would not, the length would not be greater than the width. All the others can happen. Circle. The center is 7, 8. And the radius is the square root of 10. So what's that mean? One endpoint has a y of 11. That's 3 more than 8. So the other one has to be 3 less. So if one y is 11, that's 3 more than the center. The other endpoint has to be 3 less, because it's got to be in the middle. A rectangular prism is 30 by 25 by 5 for the volume. So we're going to increase both the length and the width. I would use box for this one. So put those 3 numbers into box, and then increase the length and the width by 10%. So that would make this 33 and this 27.5. And we're not going to increase the depth. The depth's going to stay 5. So you just see how much that increases it. So 30. Box would do this too. Just multiply. And the 33. It doesn't look like the other one increases. So what's the increase? You subtract the other number, and that's the increase over the original 3750. 21%. This one you can do by polysimals, or you can do it by long dividing the -1 in and then looking at quad 2002. Remember your synthetic? So you end up with 4x squared minus 6x plus 7. Then you put that into quad 2002, and it'll tell you that the roots have an I in it, they're complex and not real. Okay? My favorite way to do it is with polysimal 2, which is one of your apps, and all it does is you look for a root with 4 in it, and you really want to use the next, and then you just hit the coefficients. 4 minus 2, wait. Oh, it wasn't 4, it was 3, my bad. Poly wants a root. I did x to the 4th, it's x to the 3rd. And then you just hit the coefficients. 4 minus 2, 1, and 7. And what it does is it gives you the answers -1. Now, how do I get it to give me the ABIs too, huh? I want the imaginaries. So when I solve it, it gives me 3/4 plus 1i and 3/4 minus 1i. That's proof that they are complex and non-existent because they have the I in it. Good day.